Are you prepared to have your heads blown by some of the strangest and most perplexing facts ever discovered? If so, you have come at the right place. This video will take you on a journey into the strange and fascinating world of random facts that will leave you scratching your heads and your mouth wide open. So fasten your seatbelts and prepare for a crazy journey through some of the most bizarre, odd and wacky facts ever discovered. You won't believe what these legendary builders who constructed the Golden Gate Bridge did. Not only did they show us buckle their way to success, but they also devised some wickedly brilliant inventions to build the enormous cables. And if that weren't enough to send chills up your spine, they also calculated the ideal dip in those suspension cables to support all that weight. To tell you the truth, I'm willing to believe they had the assistance of some helpful sea creature or enchanted mermaids. Now that's what I call ship-shape engineering. The well-known engineering company of John Roebling and Sons was the mastermind behind the cable construction on the Golden Gate Bridge. That's right, the same Roebling who had built the Brooklyn Bridge over half a century earlier. They were experts at creating cables with just the right amount of strength and rigidity, and to make it even more impressive, they developed a technique of spinning those cables right there on the job site. It's no wonder that the Roebling crew continued their tradition of innovation on the Golden Gate Bridge. And the most impressive, each of the two main cables is over 3 feet thick, 7,659 feet long, and contains a whopping 27,572 parallel wires. And get this, those cables are so darn big that they could wrap around the world more than 3 times at the equator. That's right, the Golden Gate Bridge uses the largest bridge cables ever made. These cables could practically lasso the whole world. Can you imagine? Moving on, let's talk about the wild and wonderful land of Australia. It is home to a wide variety of creatures and environments, ranging from the adorable to the downright dangerous. And don't even get me started on the plants. One little tree in Queensland called the gympie-gympie might look like a harmless, frizzy-leafed shrub, but don't be fooled. The pain from this thing's sting might keep you writhing in agony for months or even years. After hearing that, you might be hesitant to give it a hang, huh? This plant will give you the instant sensation of being shocked by electricity and burned by hot, scalding acid. And guess what? You don't even need to touch it to feel the burn. That is correct. This nasty thing from hell is covered in a thin layer of poisonous silica needles that contain enough powerful neurotoxic to give you a headache. And if that weren't bad enough, this spiky plant sheds like a cat in the summer, so be careful or you can find yourself unknowingly sporting thousands of these stingers lodged in your skin. If you happen to stumble upon a gympie and get stung, you cannot just play it cool and pluck those needles out like you are doing your eyebrows. No, this silica mane is too tricky to spot, so you will need to break out the hot wax and rip it off, praying to the stinky gods that none of those nasty little things break off and embed themselves in your skin. If they do, you will be wishing you could bite off your own arm for the delicious pleasure it would provide. Now, in case you spot a dried out old gympie, be aware, as it's equally harmful, as silica just hangs out and doesn't want to leave even after the rest of the plant has said its goodbyes. I'm sure that you will all be wondering what is this mysterious substance in its venom. Well, botanists are still scratching their heads over this one. All they know is that there's a fancy sounding peptide called moroidin involved. Doesn't it sound like something you would order at a sci-fi themed restaurant? Now imagine a tranquil lake in Tanzania that has the power to turn animals into stone. No, a supernatural being or a super villain is not responsible. It's the real deal and the photos will blow up your mind. The water of Lake Natron is so alkaline that those who enter it unprepared risk getting a pH-robbing burn, similar to a horrible sunburn, but for your eyes too. The secret to its caustic properties? Sodium carbonate and other minerals that flow into the lake from the surrounding hills. The sodium carbonate, which was used in ancient Egypt for mummification, acted in a way as a preservative substance for those animals that got petrified in the shores of the Lake Natron. And just to make things more interesting, there is another alkaline lake nearby if you think the first one isn't nasty enough, Lake Bahi. They lack a pathway to any river or body of water. Since these lakes are so small and shallow, the water can reach temperatures as high as 106 degrees Fahrenheit. Would be wise though not to try to boil anything there. Have you ever heard about the term dessert stomach? Say what? Well, you should have started wondering why after stuffing yourself with a hefty meal, you still manage to magically make some space for that sweet dessert. It turns out that you have something called a dessert stomach, and it's all supported by research. You are not simply a limitless hole of sugar-loving delight. It's a phenomenon known as sensory-specific satiety, and it explains why we can always fit in that last slice of cake. So, it turns out that the more you chow down on something, the more your taste buds get bored of it, leaving you feeling like you had enough. But don't be fooled. You are only bored of that specific flavor, so there's still plenty of room for dessert. It's called sensory-specific satiety, and it's your excuse to indulge in something sweet. Barbara Rolls, a professor of nutritional sciences at Penn State University in the US, has been studying this area for 40 years. She claims that the decrease in enjoyment you experience from food is specific to the meal you have been eating. Thus, even if you are full after your main course, you will always have room for dessert. So, make room for that delicious chocolate cake. Well, it turns out that our taste buds have a short attention span, just like a goldfish. Therefore, as we continue to gorge ourselves with the same foods, our taste receptors grow bored and crave new and interesting foods. And this is where the magical power of dessert comes in. It's like a superhero, always ready to save us from the boring flavors of our meals and keep us on the path to health by encouraging us to switch to something different. For the end, something different. Crocodiles don't seem to experience old age, so perhaps they found the key to eternal youth. These scaly animals have been known to live for more than a century in captivity and can live up to 70 years in the wild. The saltwater crocodile, which has the greatest lifespan of any crocodile species, is the real MVP. Crocodiles are like kids who never stop growing, except that they don't have growth spurts. They just keep on growing and growing. And unlike us, they do not age out. Nope, they merely keep growing until something comes along to take them down, whether it's a bigger crocodile or a pesky human. So what seems to be the secret? Is it some fancy anti-aging cream or a magical potion? Nope, it's their gut microbiome. According to a study by Siddiqui Rukaya, crocodile serum has potent anti-cancer qualities, so you might want to start drinking crocodile juice if you want to live a long and prosperous life. I'm just kidding, please do not drink crocodile juice. So, let me break it down for you. These crocs have incredibly resilient gut bacteria that are capable of eliminating cancer cells. They are essentially immortal, thus it makes sense that they are dubbed living fossils. The length of their existence is yet unknown. Who knows, perhaps they are actually wizards hiding in plain sight. That was all, folks. We hope that you enjoyed this video and you found it interesting. In case you did, please subscribe to our channel for many more nice things to come. See you soon.